Hello, my name is Chris, and in this video I'm going to show you my workflow, how I edit portrait photos. At the bottom I will show some time codes if you want to jump to one part of the video. I make a lot of company portrait photos, and I've just done a bunch, and I thought I should make a video of this to show you all the steps I go through. So first of all, we open the photos in Lightroom. I'm using Lightroom Classic, as you can see, and I've imported the photos. I also took a picture of myself, and I'm going to show you how I edit all my photos. So the first step is to import them in Lightroom. What I always do when I take pictures, I let the customer see the pictures and we choose our favorite picture. I give those pictures a star. With my camera I can do that. I can give them a rating, so I give them a star, and this is the picture I'm gonna edit. So when it's imported in Lightroom, first I go into the Develop tab and I go to the lens profile, and I put this on the lens I have. I have an 85mm and I have these two enabled. Second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the profile to portrait, and you see the color is more skin-like. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to see if the basic adjustments is correct, what Lightroom thinks, and in this instance it's not that good, I think. So I'm going to change them myself. I always like to lift the shadows a bit, and I think for the rest it's actually quite good. I'm gonna put the white balance on auto in the Adobe in the portrait profile, and I think this is a good base to start. So the next step is to open the photo in Photoshop. So I'm gonna right click the mouse, go to Edit in Adobe Photoshop. So now it's going to open Photoshop, and we're going to do some tweaks in there. So the photo is open to Photoshop. What I'm going to do is I'm going to double click the layer and press OK, and now it's unlocked. I'm going to hold the Alt button and drag the layer down so it makes a copy. I always want to keep one copy so I can compare my changes to the original. So now I'm going to select the top layer and I'm going to remove some little imperfections. I do that by using the patch tool. If it's not showing, you can hold your mouse button for a second, and then you'll see all the tools, and you should select the patch tool. So over here I have a little scar. And what I do, I drag my mouse around it, or I'm using the pen tool with my tablet, and I drag it to a new area. I use an area that's really close to the one I draw. I let Photoshop, the tool calculates and removes the little spot. So as you can see, it's gone now. Here I have another little spot I'm gonna drag. And as you can see, I have some little color in my face, so I'm removing those. Some people have more than others. Some people have some bird marks, and some people have some really significant scars. The question is, do you want to remove them or not? Because bird marks are something of the person, so I think only imperfections that are not normal to the person, I delete them. So, as you can see, that one didn't work quite well. So I'll try it again on another spot, and that's much better. So as you can see, all the little spots are gone, and if you can see it when I turn the layer off and on. So now I'm gonna use the Dodge tool, and you can see that by pressing O or hold your mouse button, and you can see burn, sponge and dodge. And I want to use the Dodge tool to make areas lighter. I always make the eyes a little bit lighter because healthy people have white eyes. I don't do the color of the eyes, I only do the whites. And as you can see, I have my exposure set to 12 and the range is set to shadows. And protect tones is on. So I make it a bit smaller. I make the tool a bit smaller to get into the little corners. And when I turn the layer on and off, you see there's a slight difference. And that's the purpose with all these things. Just move it slightly. Don't go mental by keep the exposure pretty high. You just want to adjust the picture a little bit. So as you can see, they're just a little bit lighter. And I also do this with the teeth. I start with the parts that are most yellow. So that's over here. I make it a bit bigger. That's what I do first. And when it's all a bit the same, I'm doing everything with long streaks of the pen. Or you can also do this with your mouse. What you could do is paint with white on the teeth, but nobody has white teeth, so you will see that immediately. What you want to do, sometimes you want to make the teeth lighter, and like 85% of people don't have white teeth, so just adjust them a little bit. As you can see, it's just a little bit better. So the next thing we want to do is get rid of these wrinkles a little bit. So I'm going to do that by duplicating this layer. Again, I'm holding the Alt button and I'm dragging it up. Then I'm going to click the right mouse button and I say convert to smart object. The next step I want to do is go to filter, other, high pass. And you can see you want to click on the area you want to see in here. You can see I can see my beard now, and here I see my eyes. And you just want to see the wrinkles. So this is too much. It's around 1.7%, but that all depends on the size of your picture. So I'm going to press OK. I'm going to put the layer on overlay, and in between these layers I'm going to put a new layer, and I'm going to use the Alt button so the arrow appears, and I'm going to, now it's connected to this layer. So what I want to do now is use the brush tool. You can do that by selecting B or select it over here, and if it's not here you can select it by holding the mouse button and take the top one. I make my brush a bit bigger by pressing the key that's now on your screen. And by holding the Alt button I can color pick a color that's somewhere around here, but that's a light color. So I'm gonna take this one, release the Alt button, and then I'm gonna paint slightly, so that's much too much. I'm gonna put it on about 9%, 10%, and then I'm gonna paint with a few strokes. I'm gonna paint over the color. So when I turn off the layer, you see the wrinkles are much less visible because the contrast is much lower now. I'm gonna do it on the other side also. So I'm gonna pick a light color by pressing Alt, using the eyedropper tool, and I brush again over my eye. When I turn it off again, you see the difference very good. So you can also do this with, if you have too much, the flash was too hard and you have too much reflection in the skin, you can also use this tool. I'm going to make the brush a bit bigger. You can see over here there's some reflection. It's not too much, but we can adjust this. So we use the Alt button to pick whip the color, to use the eyedropper, and then we're going to brush over this just a few times because it's only on 9%, so we have to do this a few times to get rid of it. And if we put this on a higher number, then it would be too much at once. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna adjust it, and you just want to adjust it a little bit. So let's see the result. You see, it's much more even now, although it wasn't really bad. Sometimes you have a person that sweats a bit more, then you have a lot of reflection. So again, on and off. And also here's a little bit of a color difference in my skin. So I can also get rid of that. Another thing I have is that my nose is a bit more red. And you can make this also, in this way you can make it more even. So we pick whip a bit of a reddish color near, you always want to pick a color that's near the part you're going to paint over. And we get rid of this reflection also. So now it's much more even. Okay. The next step is to get rid of wrinkles. So we do that by selecting the top photo layer, and we create a new layer in between. We're going to use the healing brush tool that's under the patch tool we just selected. And what we want to do now is we want to pick whip a color. So by pressing Alt again, we can select the color and clicking the mouse on that part. And now we can brush over this line. But you don't want to remove it all the way. So what we're going to do now is you want to press Ctrl Shift F. And that's the fade tool. And we can fade the effect we just applied. So if we turn it off, you see that was before the effect. And if we put it on 100, it's gone. What we want to make sure the preview is on. But with wrinkles under the eyes, I always put it on around 20-25%. So you still see a little bit, but most of it is gone. Okay, press OK. Now we go to the other eye. We press Alt again to select the color and the path. And we brush over it, and over the wrinkle we press Ctrl Shift F, and we put this fade also on 20%. A lot of people have some lines over here also. You can do the same with that. Press Ctrl Shift F and make them a bit less. I put them mostly on about 15%. And this all also depends on the size of your picture. Okay, we do it also with this side. And we put this also on 50%. If we now select all the layers we used to adjust the picture, so we select the top one, hold Shift and select the bottom one, and we press Ctrl G to put them in a group, we can switch them off easily and see the result we have achieved by turning it off and on. So now it's off, we see all the little things in the face, and we turn it on, we have the result. There's one more thing I want to do, and that is I want to brush in some light in this eye, because when you're using a flash, people get some light in the eye, and that makes a picture beautiful. So what we're going to do, we're going to select a brush, we make it white, because this eye also this eye has white in it, but my eyes are so close that it didn't reach this eye. So we're going to take a really small brush and we're just gonna paint it in. The opacity is really low, so we have to do it a couple of times. I'm just gonna put it on the same spot as on the other side. So just a little bit. And well, that's the result. Another thing I forgot to mention, what I like to do using the patch tool, that is if there's any dust on clothes or something like that, I always like to remove them. Because when you make a bit of a dark picture, the white dust always comes out. Just try to find sort of a same spot in the clothes. So, before and after. What I'm going to do now is save the picture. And it's quite a big file. I go back to Lightroom. And Lightroom creates another file. It's called a TIFF file. It got the same name. It also says 1 of 2. And as you can see over here, this one is called a CR3 file. And if I hover over this one, it's called a TIFF file. You can also see it over here. So this one is with the adjustments. This one is the original one. And I can go and save my file as a picture. So that was the video of today. I hope you learned something from it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.